Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Veg Networking Canada. It is important for all of us to acknowledge, honor, and respect that many of us are located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of many Indigenous peoples of Canada. Veg Networking Canada is a community where vegan plant-based companies connect and collaborate. Today, we have a special guest who is a family-forward entrepreneur. She has a passion for Indigenous healing modalities, and she's a champion for chemical-free cosmetics. Veg Networking Canada is pleased to introduce the Director of Operations at LaVigne Natural Skincare. Welcome, Jennifer Geneve.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
We are also thankful that you're here and carving out some time for us. So can you tell us a little bit more about your company's vegan plant-based origin story and why that's important to the company?
It has always been important to us to provide the most natural and healthy options that we can for people to get great results with their skin. We, from the beginning, have been paraben-free skincare, free of harsh chemicals. We don't have any of the gross ingredients that so many that you see these lists of. We don't have any of the harsh ones that you don't want to see in your skincare. That's always been the case. And in terms of the vegan side of things, that we are Leaping Bunny approved for cruelty-free products and ingredients. And also our ingredients are vegan as well. There's no animal testing. There's not on our products, not on the ingredients, and it is all checked and certified.
Lovely, lovely. And in the intro, we talked about how you're a family-forward entrepreneur. And the reason for that is because you have a lengthy experience working with family businesses, and things of that nature. So that said, can you tell us more about your entrepreneur origin story? Because it probably didn't start with LaVigne Naturals, we presume. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about your entrepreneurial spirit and where that started?
That's it's a really nice question, actually, because it made me realize that I've been surrounded by entrepreneurship my entire life. I grew up in a household where my father ran a construction company, and at times in the beginning the household phone was the business phone, and from a very young age it was commanded that I was a little kid who could pick up the phone and properly answer it, take messages, and this kind of thing. I haven't known life without small business around me. Before my mother founded this company, previous to that, besides helping in my father's construction company, she also was an entrepreneur in her own way with photography. And so I've always known self-employment around me. Also, my husband, who started his career in Australia being an electrician, once he came to Canada in 2007, decided to start his own business and has a renovations company first. And then after several years of that, we started a custom cabinet company in Port Moody. So it's all fine cabinetry, custom work, kitchens, bathrooms, all of that, that my husband runs. And so I help out with admin in that way. So I guess I've kind of always had this around me, and it's fairly natural. And so when I'm talking to people referencing sort of the wild life of an entrepreneur, I realize that maybe that's possibly all I've ever known. So it's somewhat normal to me. It's been decades.
Yeah, it sounds like you were born into it, and which provides a lot of value, right? You get comfortable with the uncomfortable from an early age. Incredible. So, in terms of the natural skincare industry, what are some trends or transformations that you've spotted in the business, in the industry?
Well, we did a little bit of a discovery a couple of years ago when we decided that we wanted to rebrand, give our products a fresh new face. Previously, we had, I don't think I have anything around me here, but we had a French look that we determined for the brand in about 2012, which was super well embraced at the time. But things change, and around 2019, 2020, we started to think that we wanted to freshen things up for the face of the products. And in doing that and really looking what people wanted from products like ours, saw a lot of information and research around consumer consumers really thinking differently about what they want to see in a natural product, or even the type of consumer looking for a natural or vegan or both product. There, it's more widespread now. You have a different, you have a higher percentage of people that are more interested these days in clean, natural skincare versus mainstream compared to what it was once at one time. So I did actually, I was trying to find it before we talked today, but I was reminded before when I spoke to Sandra that this article that I'd come across in looking for information for the rebrand was talking about how people, not only do they want the products in the bottle to be healthy and natural and not damaging to their skin and provide good results, but they want them to look pretty on the countertop. They would love it if these natural, clean products they have actually look good on their vanity. And maybe at one time, products in our marketplace didn't always look like that, or maybe they look a little bit more handmade or not so polished compared to other consumer products on the mainstream shelves. And so that helped shape what we wanted the new brand look to be like. We're quite happy with how it's come out. We've had our new look out for about a year and a half. It's been very well received. People still know us as LaVigne Naturals. They know we're the Mayan Magic Balm company, that we don't use harsh chemicals and parabens. It's a healthy brand and gives great results. But when they see it now, it's got this fresh new look. And I think that we've had quite a few actual comments about that look and how it looks really polished and pretty. But they know the products that are in the bottles.
Interesting. And you mentioned the Mayan
Mayan
there, and
Magic.
yeah, and that's sort of the touch on the intro to you about like the passion for indigenous healing modalities. So could you touch a little bit more upon that, maybe in the answer to the next question, which is where is your brand, where is LaVigne Naturals going in the future? It's usually
Mhm.
helpful for folks if you can kind of walk us up from beginning to where we are today, and then kind of use that as a springboard to tell us where you're going in the future. And maybe you could talk a little bit more about the Maya Magic or the properties and all of that.
Sure. So our whole product line came from Linda coming across Tepescohuite, which is the tree bark from Mexico. Uh, they were living there for some time in the early 2000s, and she came across this tree bark ingredient, which in Canada we have to teach people about every day. We're constantly not just teaching people about our brand and our products and what they do, but also what the heck is Tepescohuite. So this tree bark has been used by the Mayans for centuries. When you talk to somebody from Mexico, they're like, "Oh, that old stuff." Like, absolutely. Grandma put that on everything. I've seen it used like in first aid. It's a typical thing, but it's just not very well known here. So anyway, she did find out from locals that it is something that is amazing for the skin, that it's been used to help heal trauma on the skin. And it ended up being the key ingredient that we shaped the entire skincare line. Actually, I shouldn't give myself credit there, that she began creating the skincare line around. So for the first 3.5 years of the company, I was actually living overseas with my husband in Australia. When I came back, she had built up this product line with a handful of products, but it started with our Mayan Magic Balm. And so the Mayan Magic Balm is it's a shea butter based jar of cream. I don't know if it's going to show up if I hold it like this. Um, it's a cream that people put on all sorts of skin troubles. One of our retailers in northern BC said, I just say you put it on anything skin funky. When people don't know what something is, they just, and in my house, it's called owie cream. The kids know it goes on everything. So what happens is somebody who's dealing with an issue with their skin, something ongoing, they've probably spent a ton of money on all kinds of different products. They're frustrated at this point, and they're thrilled that they've found something that is natural, that has no harsh chemicals in it, nothing damaging for the skin. It's not a cortisone based product that they can put on their skin condition. It doesn't have any perfumes to it. That's another key point. When they've found a solution that turns out that it's got some sort of perfume or fragrance or something in it, that doesn't work out. It's also backed by our customer satisfaction guarantee. So not everybody realizes this, but if they buy a jar of our product in the store and they truly just aren't happy with it, they can return it and get their money back. And the stores don't always really know this too, because I think in some cases, a lot of natural products, when you buy them, that's it. It's yours, and good luck with it. But we do sell a lot to by backing it with our customer guarantee, and we can do that because we really don't get very many returns. We get some amazing stories back, is what actually happens. So it all started with the Mayan Magic. That was the first product. Then it sort of became about 3, 4 products, went from there. And all these years later, we're celebrating 20 years in 2023. All these years later, it includes men's line as well. And so we have something for the whole family.
Wonderful, wonderful. And yeah, talk about something for the whole family. That seems to me like a whole other branding play on its own for kids is the owie cream. That sounds that sounds so obviously smart. Um, and in terms of where the brand is going in the future, maybe you can tell us about like what the distribution looks like right now, or are there any future plans, or what does that look like?
Yeah, we have we've been selling for several years to around 700 or more retailers through Canada and USA. It's about 90% Canada, 10% USA. We also have our online store, so we're selling through that. Again, probably a little more Canada heavy. We're always looking to grow in the US. That's one of the things I'm looking for, is a new partnership to help with the sales side of things in the US. We did join up with a Canadian distributor by the name of Abundance Naturally, which is handling our sales and distribution in Eastern Canada. And that's something new that we've done in the past 6 months. It's been a fabulous partnership. The owner of the company is a real believer in products like ours. And I have to say, from a business perspective, being able to see that we chose a partnership with somebody who is just such a match, it's been a fabulous experience so far. And so they're mainly representing us in Ontario, but as well some like the Maritimes and starting in Quebec too. So we already had retailers in those areas. I'm just saying that this company is now selling and distributing our products, which gives us that little bit more reach. So what happens is retailers often, especially since the pandemic, can be quite cautious in how much stock they're bringing in. They don't want to have their shelves super deep with tons of product from every single line. And so buying through a distributor means that they can have a few of these and a few of those. It doesn't have to be a massive set of product, and they still have a great offering. And the fact is that because Abundance is shipping our products out of Ontario, the retailers are super happy. They're getting the product faster. They can get less at a time if they want. There's so many benefits to them. So you can tell I'm a little excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so great. And I was just reading an article recently about the CPG space, and people think CPG, they often think food, but consumer packaged goods, skincare would fall into that. And the article kind of said that when you are partnering up with a distributor or a broker, number one, have like a true fan or a believer in your product. And so that's so great that you found that. And for everybody listening, if you are sort of like a distributor broker in the US and this is natural clean skincare is of interest to you, you can of course reach out to Jen. So next question, we always preface by saying there's no right or wrong answers. You might answer it from a personal lens. Maybe it is answered from the company lens, but the question is centered around giving back and charity. Sort of like, what does that mean to you or the company, and are there any initiatives in that field?
Always, always. Since I joined the company in 2007, we've always been providing things like silent auction items and giveaways in connection with charity events and things. We also, while we have a product dedicated to giving here in our product line, we have the Dream bracelets, which are black obsidian and sunstone bracelets that we sell, and the proceeds from them actually go to a program in the Burnaby School District where it goes to feeding children and teens that are part of like the resource room in a school, like where a lot of them are Indigenous or poverty stricken in general, children and teens. And right now it's in Burnaby because that is close to us and we happen to have a personal contact there. And so I've had the great pleasure of going and delivering the end of year pizza party and getting to meet some of the kids and being there in that space and understanding what it is to them. So that's been wonderful. Other organizations that we've been involved with for several years. I used to be on the board of Dixon Transition Society for 5 years in Burnaby. They're a wonderful organization with a transition house and second stage housing as well. They're just amazing, and I've truly loved being a part of what they do, providing a place, a safe space for women and children facing domestic violence. It was a wonderful thing to be involved in, and also, unfortunately, it did really open my eyes to what else is going on in the community outside of what I know in my own life. And so that was a wonderful thing to be able to give my time to. We also give every single year, been sponsors of the Tri-Cities Moms Group. Tri-Cities, Coquitlam, Fort Moody, and Port Coquitlam. It must be a decade now, at least, where we've been sponsoring that group. And they do amazing grassroots stuff where they do family hampers at Christmas and give throughout the year to families that need it. They're always doing great things. So that's something near and dear, and it's a moms group that I have been a part of for probably 12 years now. I learned about Dan's Legacy last year. We've been giving to them as well, being involved in their auction side of their annual event. Dan's Legacy is doing wonderful stuff for youth, I think generally, mostly in the downtown east side. And for many years also the Michael Cuccione Foundation. We had family friends go through their son being diagnosed with leukemia when he was 2.5 years old. And he's a thriving soccer playing mid-teen year old now, and doing really well. But that all the work that we did to do with fundraising in connection with this child being diagnosed ended up being carrying us forward to being involved with the Michael Cuccione Foundation for a long time now. So lots of different things going on.
Yeah, lots of different things, but a common theme, helping sort of less fortunate moms and kids, right? And it's very, very, very admirable and noble causes for sure. In terms of you growing up in an environment of entrepreneurship, there must be some resources, books, maybe, I don't know, documentaries, podcasts, maybe mobile apps on your phone that help you with business, mindset, leadership, entrepreneurship. Are there any resources that come to mind that you want to share with people listening that they may or may not have heard of that might help them? Could they help you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that each person has their format that is the one that works the best for them. Some people read, some people might like Netflix documentaries or podcasts or whatever it may be. For me, it's podcasts. It's the easiest go to. I run every single day, and so having a podcast in my ear is just pretty usual. Some of the things that I love are natural health-based, science-based stuff. Andrew Huberman, I really like his stuff based around science and research. A lot of the neurobiology stuff, I just love it. Mindset Mentor is probably one of the ones that I first got hooked on probably about 2 years ago. And what I love about Rob Dial's Mindset Mentor is that his podcasts are always pretty short. I think they might be about 15 to 20 minutes. And he really does the full circle where he explains what he's going to talk to you about, gives you the concept, gives you a little story with it, talks through it all, and summarizes it at the end. And it's just, it's that snapshot, just what you need to be able to take it and do something with it. So Mindset Mentor is a great one. Gosh, there's so many. I really like Lewis Howes. He does some incredible interviews, The School of Greatness. And if you don't mind swearing, anything that involves the motivation of David Goggins, his content and what that man is made of is just incredible. If you're having a hard day, like get on YouTube and put in David Goggins motivation. He's unreal. I can't believe it. And the other one, again, with the swearing is on the marketing side. Sometimes I really like to tune into some Gary V. You guys familiar with Gary V? I mean, yeah, the language really, but he's got, what I have found is even though whatever he has going on in his giant marketing empire, I find that the content that he makes, he makes it seem so accessible, even though it's not him doing all of these things. He's got 1,000 people behind him, but literally last year, he's the reason I got us on TikTok because he made it sound so simple, like just get on, start doing it, make some content, start living it. And then once you've made what he says, like 100 pieces of content, then you've got something to look at and see what you did and see how people are reacting to it and commenting on it. So it was literally him making it seem so tangible, I guess. It made me just go for it. And actually, coming back to the point about the Eastern Canada distributor, that's how I met her. So listening to Gary Vee, ended up on TikTok, put LaVigne on TikTok. We got the account rolling, and I was for your business people, I was on there keyword searching what like our market, like skincare for over 40, that kind of a thing, and ended up coming across the content of the owner of Abundance Naturally has a TikTok account. And I thought, this person would be great for making some content with our products. No idea she actually had a distribution company. She just makes excellent content for how to do skincare for women kind of looking for, I guess, aging gracefully, healthy products and all of that.
Wow, yeah, put yourself out there and serendipity happens. And if anybody listening is like me and their neck is a little bit sore right now from nodding profusely from all those recommendations, I can relate. And just a quick note to Andrew Huberman's podcast, The Huberman Lab, if anybody's curious, great one for sure. All great recommendations. Thank you so much, Jen.
No
So
worries.
next thing is you kind of alluded to it here, right? Those are clearly sources of inspiration for you. But that is the next question is maybe what are some sources of inspiration if they are organizations or people? We've had people answer that nature is their biggest source of inspiration. Or maybe like what does inspiration actually mean to you, like on like a macro level? But that's the next question centered around inspiration.
I find, especially this week, a big highlight for me for inspiration has been the feedback that we are getting from our customers. And, you know, not every day in business being self-employed, not every day is easy. I mean, there's some great things that happen and everything, but gosh, there's some tough ones. And you just need that little bit of positivity. And I really get it through the feedback that we get about our products. We had to send out some emails to online customers earlier, well, I guess it was last week, apologizing that we had to break up their skincare order because something is out of stock temporarily. And I ended up getting a couple of amazing comments back about the skincare as like unsolicited, amazing customer reviews. One said, "No problem. I'm so glad you didn't ship it because I decided I wanted to buy some for all my friends. Can you I'm going to place a second order. Can you ship them together?" So that was one of them. Another one wrote this adorable thing about how she's been using our skincare for a long time. She loves LaVigne, and that something about like people always comment that she doesn't look her age or something like that. And she loves that. It makes her feel good. So all these things, like those are on a tough day. Those are the things that make you realize that it's worth keeping going and to keep positive and why you're doing it. If you know, look at your paying customers. That's why you're here.
Yeah, that is such a great answer, actually, to bring it back to basics, because that is exactly what, whatever industry people listening are in, that is what they're in it for, is for to satisfy the needs of their consumers, their clients, and their customers. And so, why not look there first for inspiration? That's so great. And great comments for sure. Amazing. So the last question for you is kind of like a big one. It's kind of like a catch-all. Some people like framing it as giving advice. Others kind of steer away from that whole, like, I'm not qualified to give advice, but that's sort of the concept of the question, right? It's advice or wisdom or lessons or tips centered around entrepreneurship and business.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be speaking to folks who are working a 9 to 5, they have this burning passion and they want to do it. So you might be speaking to them. You might be speaking to folks who have been an entrepreneur forever and they're on their fourth business or what have you. So it's kind of a big catch-all question for a wide swath of different folks. But what do you have to say in terms of tips, wisdom, lessons, or advice?
Well, that's okay because what I have to say covers them all. And that is, I don't have perfect wording for it yet, but I would say when you're feeling stuck, reach out and connect with people. And what I mean by that is, I have an example, say last summer, around the time of us starting the TikTok account, where that all came from, a little bit of a stuck feeling. Where am I going next right now? Like with my particular role, what in operations, I handle a lot of different things, and I was stuck in a couple of spots. And I just decided that something positive had to come from talking to at least 5 new people. So I made a list. I thought about who am I looking at? Actually, I went to LinkedIn for part of it. Who am I watching on there that I like their content, that they seem to have great ideas and some good messaging? And I private messaged people. And you know what? Everybody said yes to a conversation. All of them. Don't even know them. Hi, I follow your content. I love what you say. I noticed that you're involved in this, this, and this. I'm feeling a little stuck right now, is the best way to describe it. And I'm just wondering if a conversation with you might help me feel unstuck. And I had somebody who's a business consultant spend an hour on the phone with me just to help me out. And yes, they sell services, but they certainly weren't trying to in this conversation. And they said, if you want more, you can come back. We could work together, but that's fine. I think what I've given you is going to be enough. Good luck. Like, how amazing is that? And if somebody contacted me and said, do you think I could talk to you for a few minutes? I wanted to have a business doing this or that, or do you have any expertise with this? Could you share with me? I would help somebody else out. Why not? So literally all these people that I reached out to, I now, I have, I wanted to say mentor, but she's like, no, we're friends now. She's not in New York, but I think in DC, like somewhere in that area of the States. And same thing, somebody I reached out to at that time asked if she had any advice about something. And now we've talked on the phone several times. So my message is to reach out to people. Don't be afraid. Come at it in a good way. And I always offer to give back. If there's anything that I could ever help you with, please reach back out to me. And I really feel that can help you get unstuck. And that's why, networking groups and also like Facebook groups for business owners and all of this, like it is really great to be involved with other business owners, especially to hear that other people have challenges too. And yeah, it all goes around and comes around. We can help each other.
Lovely. And before we hit record in this conversation, you had said that the only person who can call you Jenny is your dad. I'm not calling you Jenny right now, but I gotta say, people might call you Jenny G, considering how much you love Gary V, because that's some
Oh my
pretty
gosh.
tangible advice, very like specific in terms of people can relate to feeling stuck. And generally speaking, most people are going to want to help people get unstuck, whether there's really anything in it for them or not. So that's really, really great advice. And then something just to bring it back to, you don't have to touch upon it more if you don't want to, but I think it is worth kind of doubling back to. You said that you run every day. So
Yeah.
I might assume, I could be wrong, that is also something that is very helpful and you think might be some good advice for others is to take care of your physical mental health, whether that's running or something else. Am I wrong or?
100%. It's scientifically proven. There's a whole bunch of stuff on the Huberman Lab podcast about this, about getting outside, about seeing daylight, particularly in the morning, helping with your circadian rhythm. Also being out in nature. In terms of anxiety and stress, he talked about some research related to like panning and scanning the horizon, actually glancing, like widening your gaze is calming. So these are things that when I'm feeling a little bit amped up and I get outside and just try to burn it off, like I keep that in mind. I try to look around, so not walk and look at my phone. I am running and hiking. I've been doing that since August 21st, 2020. I exercised for 915 days straight until this February. We went on a holiday and I missed a couple days traveling internationally, but the BMO half marathon is coming up this Sunday and I'm in it for the second time in my life. The first time was last year, but having daily exercise has changed my life. It helps me stay positive when things get tough. If I feel anxious or stressed or anything, I'll try first to go and burn it off by getting outside and going for a run. I ran 10 kilometers today and then had a cold shower. So those are some of the things that I do to stay healthy.
Wonderful. Yeah. And for everybody listening, if you didn't know, it is Mental Health Week in Canada. And you're really, doing it's easier said than done. Of course, we don't know everybody's situation and what they can or can't do for different reasons. But that being said, yeah, you're really putting your mental health at a disservice if you're not getting outside, if you're not exercising. It doesn't have to be running, right? It can be walking, whatever it might be. But excellent, excellent. So, Jen, is there anything that you want to circle back to that we've had in this conversation that warrants a little bit more in depth, or is there anything that maybe we missed, or any announcements or anything like that? Just kind of leaving the floor open to you before we let people know where they can find out more online and on Instagram.
One thing I would say is I wrote it beside what I was talking about with business advice is when I feel stuck, I always try to think of one thing I can do to get out of a problem or get moving from a problem. And I think it's important to just try to, we all feel stuck sometimes. Try to think of a one step that you can take toward a solution and build on it from there. Um, Also, I just wanted to invite the group to check out our skincare products. If you want to try samples, you can get in touch with us. We have live chat on our website. You can do it that way. We can probably throw together a little discount code for them. And if anyone ever has any questions about the products, I mean, we're a natural, healthy skincare line. We're woman founded and owned, Vancouver based, made in Canada, no yucky stuff in our products, and we're here to help with your skincare needs in a healthy way. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, no, thank you. And that goes for everybody out there, right? There's the new line for men and everything as well. So you
Mhm.
can find out more online, www.lavignenaturals.com. I'll spell it out here. It's LAVIGNE, lavignenaturals.com. And on Instagram, it's at LaVigne Naturals. So thank you so much. This has been a great conversation with the Director of Operations at LaVigne Naturals Skincare, Jennifer Geneve. And everybody else, we look forward to catching you soon on another episode of Veg Networking Canada. But for now, take care. Bye for now.
Bye. Thanks.